but I could even slide it. So that's just an example. Another one that I came up with was this. Actually, in this, yeah, you couldn't get it in this tuning. You always need a nice 13 sharp 11 chord, don't you? And this is good voicing for it, and it saves you having to try to stretch. It's like a tendonitis chord right there. Much easier just to do this. So again, the suggestion is I'm not a real specialist in this. If you go to see me play, you're not going to see a lot of chords like that. You'll see a couple of places where I really want the voicing, I'll go to the trouble to get it. What I'm suggesting is think about unusual ways to attain whatever it is you want to hear. In both cases, those voicings came from sounds that I wanted to hear. I was hearing that arpeggio in my head. I really wanted to hear that chord. I needed it, and therefore I found a solution to it other than retuning the guitar. So this was a digression from the funk standpoint, but really, in a way, it's what the whole funk groove approach is about, because it's making techniques that shouldn't work together. I'll demonstrate one of these others, which is on a groove in B flat. This is also in a drop D tuning. This one actually has 4 parts to it. It's a cute tune. This is a modification of something that I heard a whole band do. And so here's the bass part. Here's the backbeat. Guitar part. Greatly simplified piano part. That's a pretty fun one, and I would encourage you to try that out. Again, in every case, it's just thinking about what a band would do and working out some way to create it, whether it involves double strokes with a thumb or some technique I've never even thought about using. You'll just find that if you think in terms of doing it, especially if you see somebody else doing it, it's pretty useful to see somebody else doing it and think, oh yeah, I could do that. Because I've had students that learned this stuff in a fraction of the time it took me. If you can save yourself a few hours, I would be very happy about that. If you come back to me and play these things better than I'm playing them, I'll be especially happy about that, because then that'll give me a challenge to work harder. So I'd like to talk just a little bit about chord melody, and what I was just doing was a lot of double bends, just because that's something that's always interested me for a long time. And the reason I mention this is just a lot of people think of chord melody and all of a sudden everything gets real stiff. And it doesn't have to. Chord melody is simply accompanying your own self when you're playing the melody. Doesn't mean you can't do everything you would do to bring the melody to as much life as you can possibly get out of it. And so I'd like to talk about a few things. One is the idea of using bends and double bends. Kind of controversial in jazz, but it really doesn't matter. It's just one of those musical elements that you can choose to use if it interests you. Another one is the idea of sliding. If you want to play a melody, let's say, well, you can do all kinds of slides. And bends. lot more. It's a lot more interesting than going. Chord melody is not all just block chords. That's very interesting too. But you can, the block chords are just one of the many techniques you can use. Consider, for example, one of the things that I always do when I first learn a tune, and that's bass melody. Now from there, it's just a step. Of course, that's a few steps passed from nowhere, but what I'm suggesting to eliminate a few steps is first map out where the bass is going to be, where the melody is going to be, and then start trying to bring both of them to life as if you've got a duet going on between two voices as opposed to an academic exercise. So let's pretend that you're there. From there, it's just a step to adding in some other notes, getting the chords in there. But it doesn't have to become block chords. Once you've got the bass and the melody, you don't just have to fill it out with a static block of notes. You can bring much more to life than that if you want to. Another thing you can do that I find that particularly brings the melody to life is just letting the melody lead the chord. A lot of people think of the melody as just the top note of the chord and they work down. To me, the melody is the whole life of the song, and then you just let the harmony fill in underneath. You see, in every case, I'm letting the melody determine what happens and then following up with the chords after that. Now, of course, you can make the chords as elaborate as you want to underneath, but one of the things is the more interesting your other parts become, the less anybody's going to notice the melody. This brings up a really important issue when you're doing more than one part at a time, and that's the balance between those different parts. And the model I use to think about it is just a mixing board. You got a fader for each one of the parts. Okay, I'm going to turn up the bass. Let's just fade the melody out a little bit. Get to the point where you can have complete freedom in adjusting those things. And one strong suggestion is if you're trying to make the melody alive, then try just lowering the volume of everything else. So instead of this, you can see what's happening. I'm just trying to keep the focus on the melody there. And you find this is pretty effective when it comes time to have anybody recognize your tune. The more interesting you're going to make some other part, the softer you better play it, or else nobody will notice what you were originally trying to focus on, which is the melody. Also, you notice I'm doing a lot of arpeggiation with my right hand. This is an example of